All right. So, post review of Crystalis. You know, I knew going in it was an action RPG for sure. So I tried to take that into consideration. Robert, before we got cut off earlier, and I had to basically restart the stream, was mentioning that it reminded him a bit of the Mana series, and I definitely see that. Like it's a very similar style of game where the Mana was like our action RPG, more action RPG focus as opposed to turn based RPG. And yeah, this game I'll say definitely doesn't hold your hand. Like you do have to figure out a lot of stuff. It's it's a lot of what modern RPGs do, where you have to talk to the NPCs to like get information about where you had to like go and whatnot. But you also have to like pay a lot of attention to like it doesn't like how do I put this? It's definitely not bad, but it's definitely old fashioned. With like you really have to pay attention to what the NPCs are saying, because if you miss that one NPC's dialogue, you can get like lost forever. And it is action RPG, so you do have a little more freedom in your levels and whatnot. But definitely, of course, like any RPG, the higher level you are, the easier your time you'll have. I'll say though, the presentation of this game for an NES game is quite good actually. For definitely for its time, because this one just come out the 90s. Yeah, 1990 exactly. So yeah, I actually like the setting a lot too, where it's supposed to be like modern. Like the currency is dollars, American dollars. It's not like gold or gil or whatever. It's just straight up American dollars, because it's supposed to be like in the future. It's almost like where Horizon Zero Dawn is supposed to be like the post apocalypse, where society has been destroyed, but now it's kind of like rebuilding itself. There's like a mix of like traditional stuff like bows and arrows, along with like these mutants. I'm sorry, not mutants. I'm thinking of this game, or cybernetic like machines and whatnot. Where this game, what humanity did remain has become like mutants, and you have to like pretty much like fight the mutants. So it's a mix of like fantasy settings with like modern settings, like very mutant. And I think for the time that this game came out, I think it might have been like, I feel like I personally haven't heard of it, but I don't know. This game might secretly be a hit that a lot of people like, because it seems to be hitting both genres. It seems to be hitting both the fantasy RPG setting, along with kind of like the modern mutant setting. Ninja Turtles and mutants were really big during that time, and the X-Men, stuff like that. So I appreciate the setting. It's a very different setting from a lot of RPGs I've played. And as far as the gameplay, it definitely takes a minute, because it is an NES game. So you have to think about what hit detection you're working with, as opposed to other games of this series. And I'm pretty sure that the Mana series are similar in that respect, where it's top down action like Zelda, but of course there's RPG elements. You want to get the good equipment, like your good shields and your good items. You need to grind a little bit, and you can't suck completely, because if you're not good enough, you won't get enough money to heal at the end, and then you'll just be putting yourself into a cycle of death. So the game does force you in that respect to get a little good, otherwise you just will not be able to make progression. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I actually think this game holds up pretty damn well for its time as an action RPG. I've never played the Mana games personally. I'd be very curious to try a Secret of Mana now, which we'll be doing when we get to season 2 of HP Critical. Does it hold up? So I'm very interested in seeing how the later games hold up, the Mana games that is. But this game by itself is actually a lot of fun, and the main reason I'm saying it holds up is because it's something that I would actually want to keep playing at some point, because it's a lot of fun. I don't know if I would do future streams of this, because again there is a bit of grinding to do. It's not as tedious, because again it is an action RPG, so you're like constantly like watching your enemies for like patterns. It can get repetitive once you fight the same enemies, but like I feel like action RPGs are less susceptible to getting boring to get boring through grinding, just because you have to keep paying attention. Whereas turn based, if you're fighting like certain enemies just to grind for levels, you can pretty much just mash the button that you know will defeat the enemy and just move on. So, and it's not that grindy either, because like you're pretty much grinding for like the money, and as long as you're skilled enough, you can like push through your weaknesses. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It's a fine action RPG for its time, and I would like to keep playing it actually on my own time though, because I don't know. I feel like people would want to watch me grinding to get to get the equipment that I would want and have the levels that I would need. So